This test will take place in the Gary W. Harris Canada Game Centre gym. The sit and reach test is used to assess and measure flexibility and range of motion. The demographic for this test is elderly, able-bodied, and people with low fitness. Equipment needed for this test is a sit and reach test box. The subject should perform stretches before taking this test. The stretches will be shown and demonstrated by the administrator before the test starts. These stretches should target the hamstrings. To begin, the administrator will instruct the subject to remove their shoes and place them off to the side and sit on the ground. The subject will sit with their legs straight, flat against the floor, and a flat back, while their feet are pressed up against the test box, as shown in the video. The subject will fully extend their arms, placing one hand on top of the other, lining up their middle fingers. The subject will hinge at the hips, leaning forward as far as they can, doing this in one fluid motion. The test will be administered 3 times in a row for each subject, and all 3 scores will be recorded in centimeters. It is the administrator's responsibility to make sure the subject removes their shoes before the test. It is also the administrator's responsibility to ensure that the subject uses 2 hands during this test and not one as shown in the video. This video clip would be an example of a failed test. This is another example of a failed test attempt. The subject does not have his legs flat on the ground and is bending his back to gain leverage. It is the administrator's responsibility to make sure he does not overuse his back and he keeps his legs flat on the floor. The subject is not allowed to start with his arms in a flexed position. This would result in a failed test attempt. It is the administrator's responsibility to make sure that all of these things do not happen during the test. It is also the administrator's responsibility to observe that the subject performs this test in one fluent movement and does not rock back and forth to gain momentum. This will be a failed test attempt. A pencil and class list will be used to record data to eliminate technical errors.